Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development. 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are celebrating as International Day of Rural Women on 15th October every year. Rural women have less access to a range of resources from land rights and credit to education and technology. If women had same access to productive resources as men, farm yields could increase by 20 to 30%, feeding an additional 100 to 150 million people. Every year, female-headed households experience income losses of 8% due to heat stress and 3% due to floods related to male-headed households. At 1% increase in long-term average temperature is associated with a 34% reduction in total incomes of female-headed households relatively to those of male-headed households. So the theme for 2024 Rural Women Sustaining Nature for Our Collective Future, achieving gender equality and empowering women is not only the right thing to do, but it is a critical ingredient in the fight against extreme poverty, hunger, and climate change. Women are responsible for half of the world's production while working as environmental and biodiversity stewards. As farmers, women have learned how to cope with adapt to climate change, for example, by practicing sustainable agriculture in harmony with nature, switching to drought-resistant seeds, employing low impact or organic soil management techniques, or lending community based reforestation and restoration efforts, indigenous women have been the forefront of the environmental conservation by bringing invaluable ancestral knowledge and practices, and rural women have been leading global and national climate change movements that have spotlighted the need for action for the sale of this and future generations. Given their position on the front lines of the climate crisis, women are uniquely situated to be the agents of change to help find ways to mitigate the causes of global warming and adapt to its impacts of on the ground. However, reports prove that climate change has a more pronounced impact on women, primarily indigenous and peasant women, whose agriculture dependence, living in conditions and marginalization expose them to a greater degree of changes due to climate, loss of diversity, and pollution. So the International Day of Rural Women theme is Rural Women Sustaining Nature for Our Collective Future, building climate resilience, conserving biodiversity, and caring for land towards gender equality and empowerment of women and girls. So let's promote their work as food providers and protectors of the environment. Let's demand their participation in decision making. Within their communities, let's promote rural where women can have some same opportunities as men. Rural communities around the world are grappling with increasing challenges brought on by the climate crisis. However, it is rural women who suffer brunt of these impacts, including significant financial losses. Women are driving climate solutions at all levels as farmers, workers, consumers, household managers, activists, leaders, and entrepreneurs. Rural women ensure food security for their communities, build climate resilience, and strengthen economies. Yet, gender inequalities such as discriminatory laws and social norms, combined with a fast changing economic, technological, and environmental landscape, restrict their full potential, leaving them far behind men and their urban counterparts. So, there are some challenges and their consequences. Let's look at it. Coming to labor, the share of the women working in agricultural by country income level is low income, 64%, lower middle income, 42%, middle income, 28%, upper middle income, 18%, high income, 2%. So as of 2019, agriculture remains the most important employment sector for women in developing countries and rural areas, a sector that largely falls within the informal economy with little or no social protection and labor rights. So consequences are lower standard of living, poorer wages and health, limited access to social services, restricted upward mobility, lack of collective voice and agency. Coming to land rights, less than 15% of agricultural landholders are women, leading to consequences, less income security, less decision-making power in households and communities, inability to access credit to start a business or improve agricultural productivity. Coming to productive health, around 30% of rural women give birth without a skilled health worker present compared to only 10% of urban women. So consequences: increased chances of life-threatening complications, severe bleeding, infection, and maternal mortality. Coming to water, population with access to safe drinking water, rural areas is 60% and urban areas is 86%. Women and girls are often responsible for fetching water in rural areas, leading to consequences: barriers to education and employment, more unpaid domestic work, higher risk of maternal mortality, and violence, psychosocial stress. Coming to child marriage, girls from poor rural households are significantly more likely to be married before the age of 18 than girls from wealthy urban ones. In some countries, over 50% of the girls from poor rural households will be married as children, leading to consequences: barriers to education and employment, greater risk for intimate partner violence, early pregnancy, maternal complications, vulnerability to STIs and STDs, including HIV. Coming to literacy, only 2% of the poorest rural women in low income countries complete upper secondary high school, leading to consequences: barrier to employment and decision making, lower income, lower quality jobs, increased health consequences, decreased individual and social well-being. Coming to ICT, most of the 3.7 billion people not connected to the internet tend to be poorer, less educated, and rural women and girls. Leading to consequences: limited means of getting new skills, information, and knowledge, decreased livelihoods, well being, and resilience, limited economic opportunities. Empowering rural women and girls requires decent work and social protection, education and training, sustainable energy and technology, clean water and sanitation, eliminating violence and harmful practices, including women in decision making and leadership, and increasing women's climate resilience. Today is also commemorated as Global Hand Washing Day. Hand washing is a regular practice that you do every day, but on October 15th, you should put a little more thought to it as it is a Global Hand Washing Day. Until COVID-19 happened, hand washing and its importance is in helping preventing the spread of diseases is something that most of us probably never gave much thought to. But the global pandemic has really shown a light on the importance of hand washing, meaning this day now carries extra relevance even though it has been around since 2008. Global Hand Washing Day was founded by the Global Hand Washing Partnership as an opportunity to design and implement creative ways to encourage people to wash their hands with soap, especially during critical times. The first Global Hand Washing Day was held in 2008. Since then, the community as well as the national leaders and influencers have used this holiday to spread awareness about the value of clean hands. It is really a valuable message. Hand washing is such a simple practice, but it can make all differences and save lives. Global Hand Washing Day continues to grow. It's endorsed by schools, governments, international institutions, private companies, civil society organizations, and more. India was one of the biggest participants in Global Hand Washing Day in 2008. Cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar and his teammates joined an estimated 100 million children in promoting better health and hygiene. Only 60% of the world's population has access to a basic hand washing facility. Everyone does not have access. Currently, there are 17 countries where more than 10 million people lack hand washing facilities. The availability of soap and water at hand washing facilities varies. In Ethiopia, only 0.1% of households had soap and water at hand washing facility, while in Iraq, 91% had these items available. Today is also commemorated as White Cane Safety Day, which is celebrated annually on October 15th. It's a day dedicated to visually impaired people. The white cane represents their remarkable achievements and symbolizes their dependence and independence. Traveling aids for the blind like canes, staff, and sticks has been around for a long time, but it was only in 20th century that white canes came into existence and became a symbol used by the blind to alert others. It is said that James Biggs, a photographer from Bristol, was one that who came up with the concept of white canes. In 1921, Biggs met with an accident would result in blindness. The number of vehicles on the roads was rising during that period, so Biggs decided to paint cane white in order to be easily visible to motorists as well as other pedestrians. In France, musician and writer Gulli Mount launched a scheme for the blind named National White Stick Movement. She handed over the white canes to many blind people throughout the France, including World War I veterans. This was well received in the United Kingdom as well. The United Kingdom proposed that blind people be given white canes and that it be universally recognized as an indicator that person carrying it was blind. The United States, it was the Lions Club International that suggested the idea of giving white canes to the blind for the war veterans. The long white canes not only acted as an identifier, but also as a tool for mobility. On October 6, 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson and the US Congress signed a joint resolution that proclaimed that October 15 to be celebrated as White Cane Safety every year. If you see a person carrying a white cane that has a red tip, it means that the person is deaf blind, both deaf and blind. A completely white cane means visually impairment only. It is legal to carry a white cane on an airplane, but only after it has been screened by the X-ray machine. To make white canes lightweight and durable, materials like aluminum, fiberglass, or carbon fiber are used to manufacture them. So what better way to celebrate this day than by giving out white canes to people who need them? There are still many visually impaired people who do not possess a white cane. Get some white canes and distribute them among those in need. Many people are not aware of white cane laws, such as blind individual with a white cane has the right of way. This includes both people who are blind and are people who are sighted. Make use of this day to spread awareness about the white cane laws. You can either conduct seminars in your neighborhood or do it online, like we are doing online webinars. This would be a perfect opportunity to remind those who live with the loss of sight that they are much more than their impairment. If you have a blind person in your community or circle, show them some love by doing something that will have an impact on their lives. Tell them about the career opportunities lost that are unaware of, or help them learn Braille if they haven't already. A blind pedestrian with a white cane or a guide dog has the right of way. You should not honk your horn at a blind person, as they wouldn't have any idea where the sound is coming from and may become startled by the noise. You must stop your vehicle before approaching closer than 10 feet to a pedestrian with a white cane or a mobility device. Carrying a white cane, unless you are partially or fully blind, is a punishable offense. Everyone cannot carry a white cane. There is a standard cane for navigation with supports for mobility and the ID cane for people with partial sight. There are 3 types of white canes. It is estimated that over 250 million people worldwide are visually impaired. White Cane Safety Day is a day to appreciate the achievements of blind people. This day gives us an opportunity to reach out to people that might need your help. You can attend meetings even organized on White Cane Safety Day and do something that will help visually impaired. White canes are the symbol of independence for visually impaired. This day calls for learning and educating people about importance of this tool and celebrating symbol of independence. Today is also commemorated as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day in US. The loss of an infant is devastating. Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day honors those lives lost to miscarriage in US, sudden infant death syndrome, stillbirth, the death of newborn, and more. National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day is a day to shatter the culture of silence surrounding infant and pregnancy loss. People defy the social and cultural taboos about speaking about the loss of their young ones by sharing their personal experiences and remembering their loss. This International Day is observed particularly in the US, Canada, and Australia. On October 15, take this opportunity to reflect, honor, and come together over pregnancy and infant losses. If you have a loved one who has experienced this loss, take the time to give them the love and support needed to process and recover. Today is also commemorated as World Students' Day, which is observed annually on October 15. This day commemorates the birthday of former Indian President Abul Pakir Jainul Abdul Kalam, APJ Abdul Kalam, who was born on October 15, 1931, to a Muslim family in the pilgrimage center of Rameshwaram on Pamban Island, India. In a landslide victory, he became the 11th President of the Republic of India on July 18, 2002. During his 5-year tenure, Kalam was deeply loved by people and fondly called People's President. World Student Day is celebrated on October 15 because the date marks the birthday of India's former president, late APJ Abdul Kalam. However, there is controversy surrounding the origin of holiday. Although some sources claim it was established and is currently observed by the United Nations, there is no evidence pointing to the fact. In reality, the only international day observed by the UN on October 15th is the International Day of Rural Women. Furthermore, it has been alleged that the National Information Officer of the UN Information Center, Rajiv Chandran, stated that the UN had never declared such a day. Nevertheless, World Students' Day aims to recognize the impact of Kalam had on India's educational sector. APJ Abdul Kalam was born on 15th October 1931 to a Tamil Muslim family in the pilgrimage center of Rameshwaram on Pamban Island, India. He graduated with a physics degree from St. Joseph's College, Tiruchirappalli. After graduating from Madras Institute of Technology, where he studied aerospace engineering, he joined the Aeronautical Development Establishment of the Defense Research and Development Organization. He experienced a brilliant illustrious career as a scientist, becoming India's most famous nuclear scientist in the 1990s. Kalam became the 11th President of the Republic of India on July 18, 2002. He was deeply loved and fondly called the People's President during the 5-year tenure. Post-presidency, he lectured in several higher institutions. He was visiting professor at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, and honorary fellow on the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and Chancellor of the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, as well as many other positions. Kalam received 7 honorary doctorates from 40 universities indicating the brilliance in his field. On July 27, 2015, while delivering a lecture at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, he suffered a cardiac arrest and passed away at Bethany Hospital. So, World Students' Day is observed for the first time in the honor of President Abdul Kalam in 2010. Kalam remained a lifelong bachelor. From being an average student to becoming India's 11th president, Kalam achieved many great feats during his life. He was living proof that our past does not define our future. Motivate yourself by learning important lessons from his life. Kalam made many profound statements that have been immortalized in the minds of many people. Study some of his inspirational quotes and apply them to your life. Don't take the rest after your first victory, because if you fall in the second, more lips are waiting to say that your first victory was just luck. So dreams come true. You have a dream before your dreams can come true. So you have to dream before your dreams can come true. Be determined to succeed. Excellence is a continuous process and not an accident. You cannot change your future, but you can change your habits, and surely your habits will change the future. If you fail, never give up, because fail means first attempt in learning. During his school days, Kalam was regarded as an average student, yet he went on became India's most famous nuclear scientist. This proves that no matter what, we can overcome our past and become excellent in life. During his term as a president, he touched the hearts of the people. In a time when political leaders were often corrupt and self-centered, he charted a different path and positively impacted the country. During his career as a scientist, Kalam became known as the Missile Man of India. He made history when he worked on developing ballistic missiles and launch vehicle technology. He also had a massive part in the Pokhran 2 nuclear test in 1998. Today is also commemorated as UK Coffee Week in UK from October 15 to 21st. It's a week dedicated to learning more about coffee industry and the people who cultivate it. Hundreds of coffee shops, restaurant roasters, and their customers get together this week to raise funds for the Project Waterfall, working to an end of the water crisis faced by coffee growing communities. Worldwide donations come from every cup served and every coffee bag sold. Running competitions, raffle, and other fundraisers also contribute to the worthy cause. Over 8 lakh pounds have been raised since 2011, funding 13 projects and changing more than 45,000 lives in Ethiopia, Kenya, Nicaragua, Tanzania, and Uganda. Today is also commemorated as Kulu Dasra, which is famous international Dasara festival celebrated on October 15th this year in Himachal Pradesh, in northern India. Dasara at Kulu begins on the 10th day of Navaratri, which is held in October and continues for 7 days. The festival commemorates the installation and installment of deity Raghunath in the Kulu Valley. To devotees, the festival also symbolizes the triumph of good over evil. The celebrations are massive with thousands of tourists from around the globe, music, food, dancing, troupe performances, and colorful attire make up the fascinating aura of Dasra. In 1972, Kulu Dasra was recognized as an international event. Kulu Valley, also known as Kulantapita Valley of Gods, is renowned for its annual Grand Dasra celebrations, attracting thousands of tourists worldwide. The Kulu Dasra festival dates back to 16th century to the legend of King Jagat Singh of Kulu, who installed an idol of Raghunath on his throne as an act of repentance. Historians indicate that Lord Raghunath's idol was brought to Kulu from Ayodhya in 1651 during the king's rule. King Jagat Singh invited all deities to come to pay tribute to Lord Raghunath, and thus began the annual Dasra celebration, which continues to this day. He also proclaimed Lord Raghunath as the supreme deity of Kulu Valley. The celebration of the Kulu Dasra festival involved music and dance, colorful decorations, symbolized happiness and abundance. In 1972, Kulu Dasra was declared an international festival in 2016. The festival made its way to the Guinness World Records for bringing together more than 9,000 dancers from the largest voluntary folk dance performances. Although the Dasra festival is celebrated in different parts of India, Nepal and Malaysia, only the week-long festival in Kulu holds the status of an international festival. Following the COVID-19 pandemic in the 2021 Kulu Dasra celebrations were altered to ensure safety. There were strict social distancing and crowd control measures enforced in different Indian states. Members of the public were advised to stay indoors and celebrate the festival in low-key manner. Today is also commemorated as National Dashi Day in US. Is a day dedicated to honoring simple yet profound broth that is heart of Japanese cuisine, sponsored by Kenoya, a renowned manufacturer of authentic Japanese seasonings. This special day highlights the art of dashi made from natural ingredients like kombu, kelp, and which enhances the flavors of countless dishes. Whether you are a seasoned home cook or new to Japanese cuisine, National Dashi Day is a perfect time to explore depth and versatility of dashi in your kitchen, as it is also a non-vegetarian sausage seasoning. So National Aesthetician Day is celebrated in US on October 15th, dedicated to millions of aestheticians across the globe who work day and night so that we look our best. These are also known as beauticians. It is said that early men during the Stone Age used to a variety of aesthetic practices, but it was mainly for blending into environment, which was crucial for hunting stealthily. However, there have been pieces of evidence suggesting that people in South Africa use powdered red rock on the face and bodies to be more attractive to the opposite sex. Some suggest that this was a hunting ritual. It was later during Egyptian civilization in the West when aesthetic practices began being used for beautification. Cleopatra was very well known for using a variety of methods for skin exfoliation and personal grooming. It is said that Cleopatra enjoyed bathing in sour milk, which today has been proven to be effective in maintaining skin health. It is also said to have anti-aging properties. She was also known to have mud baths, which are proven to remove dead cells from the skin, making it glow more. The word aesthetics is said to have come from Greek word aesthetikos, which roughly translates to appreciable to the senses. It's believed that Greeks used olive oil for making their skin resistant to harmful rays of sun. They also discovered novacilla, a straight razor used for shaving. The Romans used pumice stones for shaving and plucking hair and are said to have used depilatory creams. In the late 20th century, many brands emerged that shaped the world of beautification and grooming. Electric toothbrush and shavers flooded the market. Many salons and spas also opened, and people started placing importance on grooming more than ever. In 1998, a team of aestheticians, doctors, and chemists founded Cosmetics, which is a brand dedicated to skincare and skin health. In 2016, to honor aestheticians and beauticians, Cosmetics proclaimed October 15 to be celebrated as National Aesthetician Day. Today is also commemorated as National Latinos AIDS Awareness Day in US. Latino AIDS Awareness Day is observed annually on October 15th on the last day of National Hispanic Heritage Month. In 2015, this segment of the population accounted for about 1/4 of all new diagnosis of HIV in the US. Local organizations across the country use the day to launch prevention campaigns, offer counseling and testing, and hold cultural events. Education can help cure and prevent this even more to find much information. World Health Organization declared the first World's AIDS Day on December 1st, 1988. And the World Health Organization says that AIDS cases have increased 56% worldwide. Today is also commemorated as National Mushroom Day in US. Mushrooms are fleshy fruiting bodies of fungi, and there are a variety of species, which is why we have so many types of mushrooms to choose from. They are staple in vegetarian diet due to their nutritious value and hearty consistency. Plus, they make a delicious side dish for juicy piece of meat. That means everyone can have fun celebrating National Mushroom Day. Today is also commemorated as Pharmacy Technician Day in US on October 15th. Pharmacy technicians perform vital duties in support of pharmacists, counting bills, entering patient data, waiting on customers, and explaining the use and effects of drugs and medical devices. Pharmacies couldn't run without them, and they deserve a day of appreciation for all their tireless work. So on October 15th, we celebrate the women and men behind the counter, and yes, we need their help. Today is also commemorated as Pro-Life Day of Silent Solidarity in US, which takes place every year on third Tuesday of October, falling on October 15th this year. It's a day for us to remain silent in remembrance of the children who have lost their voices as a result of abortion. Today is also commemorated as Shine a Light Night in Ireland, when people spend the night away from the safety and comfort of their beds. People sleep outside their homes to raise awareness and funds for the welfare of homeless people. Focus Ireland introduced this day in 2012 and has helped raise over $7.69 million for homeless people in Ireland. According to a Department of Housing Today report published in journal.ie, there was more than 8,200 homeless people in Ireland as of December 2020. The figure is rising. Housing is a basic human necessity that has been around for a long time, over 70,000 years ago. Caves were used as shelters in every way. Housing had transformed. We have advanced from cave nuts and Roman buildings with slanted roofs, timber houses, and so on, onto modern living spaces. Houses are no longer just shelters from outdoors and animals, but we have a place in the house where we belong. One's house is also a status symbol and a personal identity. Urbanization, the evolution of nuclear family, and the cultural factors have contributed to the desire of own a house. Around 150 million all over the world are homeless, and the figure is rising every year. A 2015 survey states that around 1.6 billion people live in inadequate shelters, with more than 8,000 homeless people. Ireland is facing a housing crisis too. More than 5,000 adults and 2,300 children need assistance to have a roof over their heads. Focus Ireland is trying to improve the dire situation. Focus Ireland was founded by St. Stanislaus Kennedy in 1980. The organization was formed to address the need to create safe dwellings for people and is supported by the business community of Ireland. It provides help and information to the homeless and also ensures the right of these people remain on the government agenda. Shine a Light Night is an initiative of Focus Ireland. The campaign encourages business leaders, students, and the general public across Ireland to experience one night of sleeping outdoors. With this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls before you leave the session. See you all tomorrow, the same time with the same joining link at 6 o'clock. Take care. Good night.